Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 306 to 308 for the 26th to 28th of December. And let's start off with Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia. He threatened Ukraine that if Ukraine do not meet the demands of disarmament and denazification, the Russian army will take over, which actually means that Russia is now threatening bigger military operations against Ukraine. And this is probably very surprising to the people who are pro-Ukrainian, because to them the Russian military is spent, and to say that and also Ukraine is winning, so what can the Russians do, right? No, so yeah, let's see what can the Russians do. So the today's report, I missed the last 2-3 days because for the 26th, that means on the 27th, because we had the super long 5-hour open mic, so I'm burnt out. Then after the next day, I got a photo shoot for my client, a commercial photo shoot, and then it's like yesterday already, and then it's today. So yeah, so unfortunately. Anyway, southern front we have nothing. And then over at the Zaporizhia line, over the Zaporizhia region, the Ukrainians strike the airbase at Tokmak. So at Tokmak, north Tokmak city, there is actually a airbase, which is actually kind of used by the Russian military. I don't think it's used heavily per se, maybe more for helicopters. I don't think the planes will be positioned there, too near to the front, and it got struck by a missile strike. So this is reported by War Gonzo. And over at the Velika Novosilka region, at the very end of the Zaporizhia line, there is fighting reported at Levadne. This is reported today, the 29th December. For Russian Defense Ministry reports, I put on the dates are always dated as per the day they report, because their report comes out at 12 noon, so half a day is gone, so it doesn't make sense to date it backwards. But you can imagine this is actually happening on the 28th, and there is recon forces trying to investigate the Russian forces or positions around Levadne, and there's also the same over at Vremivka, in the same report. The Russians, however, were attacking Velika Novosilka, reported by War Gonzo that the Russians are pushing here, and this is corroborated by the Russian Defense Ministry, as they mentioned active actions at Velika Novosilka, and this, so it's not bad, which means that War Gonzo's report actually get corroborated by the Russian Defense Ministry. So fighting is reported at Velika Novosilka, but Velika Novosilka is an extremely strong Ukrainian position. They maybe because of the how the rivers are transversing around the town or the city, which makes it extremely defendable. It's basically a fortress for the Ukrainians, much like Voleda, which is a fortress in another form. And talking about Voleda, now we are in the Donetsk front. At the Donetsk front, along the Voleda line, there's fighting reported at Zolotaneva. This is actually pretty rare to have fighting around here. So, but this fighting already on the 27th and on the 28th, and the last 2 days, and there is shelling reported at Preshestivka, and then follow up with an attack on the 28th. The Russians today reported that they were fighting some Ukrainian troops near Pelivka, while on the 28th, which is yesterday, they actually attacked some Ukrainian forces near Voleda, which is actually pretty near each other. So it's that near, so it's basically perhaps even more or less the same place. So at Volodymyrivka, there is a recon forces reported around this location or near the town of Volodymyrivka, and today the Russian Defense Ministry reported that they have engaged Ukrainian forces near Volodymyrivka. In the same report, they also mentioned Solodky. So fighting is reported at Solodky. On this reported today as well. So it could be talking about yesterday. Novo Mikhailivka, War continues to be the only source that is reporting on Novo Mikhailivka, where they reported fighting on the 27th and on the 28th. At the Marinka region, so now we are on the western side of Donetsk city, there is fighting reported at Boyeda from the 26th, 27th, and on the 28th. And Marinka itself, we also have reports on 26, 27, and 28. This region is definitely burning with fighting right now. And we do have a corroboration of what was reported by Sanya, Florida. And Sanya, Florida actually reported that the front line is around here now, that most of the southern part of Marinka has been captured. This is finally now corroborated by a second source, War. So War now, they reported on the 28th, which is yesterday, saying that 80% of Marinka has been captured by, or rather under the control of the Russian army. But they reported fierce fighting continues to be going on, especially on the western outskirts, which is basically exactly the same thing as what was reported by Sanya. And some of the forces fighting here includes the volunteer force of Bas 11. So there's another volunteer of this Bas group. The Bas 13 is actually fighting at Crimea. So this is pretty interesting, at least to me. Further up north from Marinka region, there's fighting reported at Krasnohorivka. According to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, there's the Russian forces attacked on the 26th. There was no fighting reported on the 27th and on the 28th. And today's report, the Russians actually indicated on their map that they are fighting at Krasnohorivka. So this could be referring to yesterday. They did not name it Krasnohorivka particularly. They only basically put it in the map. And although on the map, it's also very interesting because they named Krasnohorivka as Konstantinivka. And it kind of very confusing for me when I was trying to figure out exactly where, because their mapping is so vague. Over at the Pisky region in the northwestern part of Donetsk city, there is fighting reported at Nevelsky on the 27th and on the 28th. Similar reports from the War as well at Pervomaisky. Although for Pervomaisky on the 27th, it was also reported by Deep State UA, the pro-Ukrainian source, and at Opine is by War alone. And at Vodian, there is fighting reported on the 26th, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, and on the 27th as well. War reported fighting on the 28th, which the Ukrainian Defense Ministry did not report. So in terms of the entire Pisky region, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry only mentioned about Vodian. So let's move on into the Adivka region. Now we are in the north of Donetsk city. And the north of Donetsk city, there is fighting reported at Kanyamka, according to War on the 27th. And there is fighting west of Novoselivska Druha, according to Surya Maps, where Surya Maps reports that the Russian forces managed to capture some parts of the highway. That means captured a bit more of the highway around this region here. This region seems to be really hard to push. I think there must be very strong Ukrainian defense around this region. The front line here over at the Novobakhmutivka region also is very uncertain. Although I drew a bird head here. This bird head is not necessarily actually the front line. There could be a possibility where Novobakhmutivka might not even be under Russian control, because since September, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry did say that they were attacked here. And the last report of Novobakhmutivka that was captured was so long ago that I cannot even remember when it was. So take this crow head with a pinch of salt, and but don't eat it. It's not chicken. You can put salt on it. It's all right. Then there's fighting reported at Alexandropil on the 27th, according to the Russian Defense Ministry, where they actually were doing a push. and War Gonzo actually reported the same information. And on the 29th, which is today, the report based on the mapping shows that they did continue to fight around this region near Oleksandropil. At New York region, now we're at the New York front actually. So at the New York region, we do have fighting reported near New York. This is also based on mapping. The exact location is not exactly mentioned by text according to the Russian Defense Ministry. However, we do have more certain information that of fighting at Zalizny, especially on the 28th. Especially on I think it's on the 28th, where the information is a bit more specific. So we are now north, very far north of Donetsk, actually nearer to Holivka city, and this is actually New York, and this is Torres. You should get more acquainted with these two cities, because more and more fighting will start to emerge around this region, and now we are around Mayos. So this is Mayos, this Mayos, and this is the the part, the border between the two fronts, the Bakhmut front and the New York front. And I just did a video analysis on the importance of this fighting around here, so do check it out. It's also on DPA War channel, and fighting is reported at Pivnishny on the 28th, and today's the report based on the mapping shows that the fighting continues to be raging around at Pivnishny. There's also fighting reported at Druzhba on the 26th. This is reported by War Gonzo, but since the 26th, we didn't really see reports about fighting at Druzhba. Maybe they really combined the information, seeing Druzhba and Pivnishny as more or less the same place. I'm not sure. And moving up north now into the Bakhmut front. So we are now at the eastern part of the of the entire front line, and at the most southern point of the Bakhmut front, we have fighting reported towards Dilievka. So on the 26th and on the 27th, there are reports of Russian forces moving towards Dilievka. It was first reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, where they first mentioned Dilievka in their report on the 26th, for the 26th. And War Gonzo actually repeated this information on the 27th. The Suryat maps reported fighting west of Kudyomivka, and this could actually also refer to the same fighting or the same report that was reported by the Ukrainian and Defense Ministry and War Gonzo. It might be the same thing, because the location is actually pretty close, and the Ukrainian Defense Ministry on the 28th reported the Russians are fighting near Kudyomivka. So currently we are looking at the Russian push towards Dilievka and Bilohora collectively, and let's see how this goes. This definitely is going to be a very threatening or dangerous push for in the perspective of the Ukrainians, because it will cut supply route to Torres and New York, or to Bakhmut from Konstantinivka, which is actually a major hub for resupply and reinforcement. There is fighting reported near Andriivka on the 27th, and there is fighting reported at Klishchiivka on the 27th and on the 28th, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. On the 27th, on the 28th, it was reported by actually Ryba. This is AZ military, because this is actually a translated version of Ryba's report. Over at the Bakhmut city, on the southern part of Bakhmut city, at Opine, there is fighting reported at Opine on the 27th and on the 28th. Both information is coming from Ryba. And on the southeastern part of Bakhmut, there was a counteroffensive by the Ukrainians, according to Ryba. An assault detachment of the 57 separate military mechanized brigade. I don't know why this abbreviation is a bit different, so I might not call this correctly. But anyway, they did attack. However, the attack, according to the intel, seems to have suggest that it failed quite badly. They say only 8 managed to escape, but perhaps only 9 went to attack. So who knows what So no, just take this with a pinch of salt, which is why I don't really report much on the details in terms of the fighting or the losses. At Bakhmut city itself, the detailed front line is not mentioned by any sources. There's only reports of fighting at Bakhmut according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, and then by Ryaba on the 28th, 27 and 28th. A lot of focus now is on Pihorodne, on the north eastern part of Bakhmut city, as fighting is reported on the 26th, 27th, and on the 28th. And this is reported by War Gonzo, Ukrainian Defense Ministry, and Ryaba, and in fact, even Deep State UA also mentioned about it. But because I usually try not to repeat the information. So once I already entered one information, I do, to save time, I do not put a second source into it. But I just want to inform that I did see it, and usually, okay, so no, just before I move on, I just want to share, usually my routine is always I will map in the Russian Defense Ministry's report first, and then the Ukrainian Defense Ministry report, and then Ryaba, and then UA, Deep State UA, and then I will then go into other less other sources that I know I less focus on. So over at the Soledar region, there is fighting reported at Bakhmut on the 27th and on the 28th. Similarly, for Soledar is 27 and on the 28th. There is a Ukrainian counteroffensive towards Sryapivka, which is very surprising. This is reported by War Gonzo and then was repeated also by Ryaba on the 27th, where the Ukrainian 128th, I don't know what is this, and trying to break through the Russians' advance in the area of Sryapivka, which is actually kind of scary because Sryapivka is actually quite far away. From the front line is around 4-5 kilometers. So in the area, sounds like they actually went quite deep. Maybe it was a rush. However, according to Ryaba, the Russian managed to stop them and actually counterattack. So accordingly, the Ukrainians so-called lost 4 positions. So maybe, I'm not sure, how important it is positions, because anything can be a position. So, my chair is a position. Your bed is also a position. Yeah. So anyway, there is fighting continues to be reported near Yakovlivka, but according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry on the 27th and on the 28th, it was reported by Ryaba, where they are still continue to push towards Soledar. And now we are into the Sivers front. At the Sivers front, we have reports of fighting near Razdolivka, according to the AZ military, probably Ryaba. And then we have fighting at Vasily on the 27th and on the 28th. 27 is reported by Ryaba, and then on the 28th it was reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. In the today's Ukrainian reporting on yesterday, there is also fighting reported at Bilohorivka. So this Bilohorivka is not the one and the Luhansk one. It's actually in the Donetsk one over here. And there's also fighting reported at Sperne, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry on the 27th. Deep State UA mentioned that there is fighting reported north of Sperne. So the pro-Ukrainian source say that the Russian advance is actually north of Sperne. I'm not sure if this is actually the same report as per the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. Both is actually reporting the same date. So maybe it's the same one, because the Ukrainian Defense Ministry did just mention area of. So the Ukrainian Defense Ministry is always very vague. So yeah. So no, they never show photos or videos, or anything. No, I cannot corroborate anything of they say. No, so no, everything is fake news. This is the logic by the pro-Ukrainians, so no. Yeah, I'm just saying. Anyway, over at Bilohorivka, according to War Gonzo, the Russians did try to attack Bilohorivka in Luhansk again on the 27th. But after that, we didn't really see fighting here. Looks like the Russians are kind of giving up for a while. They might be redeployed because the Ukrainians are actually pushing over in the Serebryansky forestry. So now we are at the Crimea front. So this Liman city, Krasny Liman, Crispy Lemon, and Crimea. So or criminal. At a criminal, there is fighting reported south of Kuzmine. So this was very surprising to me. It's like, what is Kuzmine? And then when you zoom in enough, there's actually a small village called Kuzmine here, which I have almost never seen before, or I never noticed it. So it's actually, you know, south. There's fighting south of here. According to Wogonzo, this one was actually attacking. This should be a blue one. Yeah, it's a Ukrainian attack south of Kuzmine. They also, you know, attacking and trying to expand their control over of the Siberiansky forestry towards in the direction of Crimea, as the fighting is reported towards Crimea on the 26th and on the 27th. However, there is rumors saying that the Ukrainian forces have reached and captured Crimea or something, or at least fighting inside Crimea. That is actually not true. None of the sources actually talk about it, and Military Chronicles, pro-Russian source, actually, you know, go into details about this. They said that there is rumors, you know, being spread in Ukrainian Telegram channels that the Russians have retreated from Sviatove and Crimea, and as such, you know, the intel reached Zelensky, and Zelensky actually kind of seems to have ordered a rush to quickly capture Crimea, and this information actually caused them to send a lot of reserve to try to capture the settlement. And the attack by the 14th and 92nd Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian armed forces, with supported by the 112th Territorial Defense, were actually defeated. And the 80th and 95th Airborne Assault Brigades also suffered heavy losses trying to attack between Crimea and Sviatove, which is probably the fighting near Cheverno-Popivka. This is actually reported on the 27th. So this 27th. So, you know, this corroborated by other sources, it seems. And accordingly, you know, there are a large number of wounded and casualties on the Ukrainian side. So, you know, this actually, you know, kind of corroborated the rumors that there is such rumors. However, the information of the rumor is actually most likely not true, because it makes no sense, you know, given the rest of the report that I will be reporting. You'll find that it would not make sense for the Ukrainians to be able to reach Crimea. And in today's report by the Russian Defense Ministry, the Russians counterattacked into the Siberiansky forestry. So the Deep State UA, however, on the 28th reported that there is positional battle on the 28th. So the Russians reported on the 29th, which is today, might be referring to yesterday, that they are actually launching an attack. So there is some conflict in terms of the reporting in that sense. And around Dibrova, there is actually a Ukrainian offensive or attack on the 26th. However, that fizzled out. And after, you know, this is reported by Wogonzo, by the way. And after this did not work, they started mining. The Ukrainians started to do mining operations southwest of Dibrova to prepare defensive positions. So southwest is around here. So they're trying to secure the positions, and this is actually pretty important to protect the flank of Yampil. And also they are, you know, crossing over at Dronivka. So that's the situation over at the Siberiansky region. Oh yeah, I think I missed out some of these aircraft shootdowns. Coming back to there is a Mi-8 shotdown over Suvorove, Ukrainian Mi-8, and then there was another there's another helicopter. Where is it? There's another helicopter. Another Mi-8 shotdown over Olivka. So these are all these shootdowns are reported today. So it might be referring to yesterday. These are all fresh information from the Russian Defense Ministry. There's a Su-24 shot down over Kramatorsk, and then there's also a Su-25 shot down over Liman. So talking about Liman, we have fighting reported at Totske on the 27th, and Yampolivka on the 28th, Terny on the 28th. There is also fighting at Novolubivka on the 28th, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. At Nevsky on the 26th and on the 28th. And at Ploshchanka, the Russians are definitely on the offensive. 26, 27, 28 is all reported that the Russians are pushing. So if you look at this kind of a trend or momentum, that the Russians are pushing in multiple locations over especially all reported yesterday, on the 28th. It is quite inconceivable that Crimea is being evacuated by the Russian forces, or the Ukrainians actually captured it. And in fact, this entire story might also be just made up. Who knows? Because I'm not sure where they get the sources. So they say that it's according to this guy called Formich, the call sign, which is the commander of the Russian Legion detachment. So yeah, take all this with a pinch of salt, because the volunteer forces are not exactly the most credible of sources. Because as you're on the ground, you might not know everything. Anyway, at Shevardnopolivka itself, so as we mentioned, on the 27th, the Ukrainians actually launched an offensive, and this is actually using airborne forces. However, for most part, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry mainly reported that the Russians are the one on the offensive near Shevardnopolivka. And that's all from the Crimea front. And we move on to there's also one more triggering information. I want to give you all. Where's the trigger? Where's the trigger? There's a HIMARS getting destroyed. Where's the HIMARS? Then here at Konstantinivka. So are you triggered? Nice go. So one HIMARS is destroyed at Konstantinivka. According to the Russian Defense Ministry today, they say that they detected and destroyed it. How they detect it, how to destroy it, no photos, no videos. No, so you'll believe it at your own risk. And over at Sviatove region, there is fighting reported at Andriivka, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry on the 28th. And at Semakivka, the Russians continue to push this town on the 26th and on the 28th. And on the 26th, the Russian Defense Ministry also reported that they were attacking here as well. So it's a corroboration of each other's report, the Russian and the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. Novoselivsk ceased fighting on the 26th, and that's about it. Looks like the Ukrainians managed to hold a position. Shelling report on the at Berestove, Pishani, and at Kaislivka. So all these locations were shelled by the Russian Defense Ministry. By the Russian forces. Pishani on the 27th, Berestove on the 29th, Kaislivka on the 29th, Timkovka on the 29th, and there is fighting at Kaislivka on the 28th. There is fighting near Timkovka on the 28th. So a lot of things happen on the 28th, if you notice. And today is 29th. So which might be a case where is this the Russian winter offensive? No idea. And on the 28th, we also see fighting at Sinkivka. And then the reinforcement is reported at Liman Pershi on the 27th, and also at Monashinivka. Reportedly, the reinforcement are mercenaries of the International Defense Legion. I don't know why they keep changing the name. So basically, it's just a foreign legion. So reinforcement coming to this region. So the people going to Monashinivka, you should move forward. That's too far from the front. Don't be so lazy. So anyway, that's all for the summary of the day of 306 to 308 for the 26th to 28th of December for the Ukraine war, or the Russian special military operation, or the Russian aggressive invasion into helpless, tiny, innocent, pure Ukraine that has no Nazis. If you're triggered, then yeah, but I'm neutral actually. I'm just joking. So if you cannot take a joke, then yeah. Okay, anyway, that's all for the report. Press the subscribe button. Please press the like button. Many of you guys come to this channel and watch and don't press subscribe. No, please press subscribe. Especially if you are regular. No, you need to help to support the channel. If you don't press subscribe, the channel cannot grow. Then it would be a contradicting, right? So press the subscribe button, like button, and I'll see you in the next update.